things, and lately the algorithm is skewed. There's one guy in particular who's got like I think millions of views. There's an ex-police officer. Obviously, he's coming from the standpoint that this sovereign citizen thing is bullshit, and these people have the rights to try to assert that right, and blah blah blah. So I just wanted to kind of break it down because I have some limited knowledge on the subject and some first-hand experience on the subject. And so I guess to begin with, I'm going to go back to high school. And there are some net jobs in the sovereign citizen movement, don't get me wrong. But it's a legit thing, and I'll explain it. The first time it was explained to me, I was working at Sizzler in high school, and this guy started working there as a cook. And he started talking to me and my buddy about how you can become a citizen of California. You can rebuke your social security card, you can rebuke your driver's license, and not have any contracts with the government, and become a citizen of California, and get away with anything, and not have the laws apply to you. And me and my buddy were like scratching our heads, like talking about, like, you can just like murder somebody, get away with it. He's basically like, yeah, if you do the legal defense right, blah blah, sort of, yeah, whatever. This guy was kind of doing a good job. Anyway, or at least half of a good job. Anyway, fast forward to like 2008. After my awakening, I got divorced in Sacramento. I started a meetup group, discussing all the spirituality and conspiracy things that I had awakened to. This guy showed up at my meetup, maybe with my friend's meetup. Anyway, he showed up at one of our meetups, and but to be honest, he was promoting this thing that was like kind of a conspiracy, not a conspiracy. Pyramid scheme called the Freedom Club. But he did explain the sovereign citizen thing a little bit better about how the U.S. court system was founded in maritime law. And that's when you see like the flag with the French around it. That's not the flag of the United States. Flags are legal documents. You can't just like put a fringe around something, it's going to be the same thing. That changes the legal document. And so that has nothing to do with the Constitution or that sort of thing. Your rights are protected under, the flag, so to speak. This is how it was. So, under maritime law, which our entire court system is founded on, you have to have two people engaged in like a business contract willingly submits, and one person has to be filing suit, filing claim against the other. In other words, all these like victimless crimes, whether it's a DUI if nobody got hurt or drug sales, there has to be a victim to come forward and press charges. The state, under maritime law, you have to be a willing participant and say, okay, I agree to participate in these proceedings. Otherwise, theoretically, they have the case against you. And how you can allegedly assert this right, or you can call it a loophole. I think I'll look at it as a loophole. You can try to use this loophole by asserting your rights under Uniform Commercial Code, Section 1136, I believe it was. And the Uniform Commercial Code is something that is out there in print that pertains to maritime law. And also, he said, this guy came to me, he said, when you enter the courtroom, and there's that bar, that little gateway that enters the little desk. He said once you willingly cross that threshold into that sandbox, you're agreeing to participate in those proceedings. So he said to show up and assert your sovereign rights, Commercial Code 36 from outside that bar, and basically decline. I got a DUI back in 2011, and so I tried this approach. And I said I declined to contract with the court. And right away, one of the DA guys was like, oh God, one of these nut jobs, right? And the judge was like, it's not a contract. And so they sent me to another courtroom. And then I did the same thing. I declined to contract with the court there, or reserve all my rights under Uniform Commercial Code Section 1136. Like, all right, let's get this guy out of here. And they would send me to a third courtroom. Now, here's the thing that's very interesting. Those first two courtrooms had the flag with the fringe around it. Okay, you follow me? Maritime law flag, right? Maybe you have to be willing to see it. The third courtroom, standard flag, no fringe. And this guy was trying to railroad me to a jury trial that afternoon. And finally I was like, oh shoot, well, I better get a public defender up. Just have a fighting chance. And as a public defender came up, and then we were trying to postpone the trial, and I had a family vacation coming up, and they just started weighing on me, and I was like, okay, so here's how this would play out. I would have to be defending myself in front of a jury, explaining to them this legal loophole of, there's the corporation of the United States of America, which has to do with the maritime law that our court system is based on, and there is the official country and, official government of the United States. They're saying so under this theory, there's like two governments here. There's like the maritime law corporate, there is like an established corporation of the United States of America, and there's the actual country, the government of the United States of America. So I don't know what the bottom line is, but so theoretically, I'm gonna have to get up and explain to a jury this legal loophole of like, oh, well, this law doesn't apply to me because of the maritime law. And can you imagine, like, you yourself, the juror, like, sitting there listening to, meanwhile, the DA and the prosecution is gonna be like, he blew a .18 or whatever I blew, And I'm just like, something just came over me. I already had my spiritual link at this point, and so I had like a direct contact with, source or God or whatever you want to call it. So I've already had multiple experiences of like being guided to what to do. Without the spirit, just came over me. It was just like, just take the deal. And do what the judge was offering. But the judge wasn't really offering it. He was offering 5 years probation and a suspended sentence. So if I got busted again, I'd go to jail for a year. With those 5 years, it was a pretty bad deal actually. But something came over me, a higher power, just to just take the deal. And so I ended up stopping fighting it at that point. But isn't that interesting that I experienced 3 different courtrooms that day, 2 with the fringe and 1 without. And so all that to say that, if you want to research it, this sovereign citizen thing is no joke. And, our government is a corrupt, criminal, legal organization. But that doesn't mean they can't throw you in jail. You can be right. You can be right and sit your ass in jail for however many years. There's lots of people who have been right and been sent to jail. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. Hope you enjoyed.